Well, just chucked the front bumper on this morning. Got that fitted up. It looks a lot nicer now. All the junk's hiding behind it, so that does tidy it up quite a fair amount. Got all the lights in, all the headlights are all plugged up, fog lights are in. I've just pulled the doze pipe off and I want to do a few little things. First problem is to put thread tape on this 8th MPT fitting. This is the factory water fitting that I put over here. I drilled and tapped it because I've got my thermo switch in the original position there. So I'll just whip that out, put some tape on it, put it back in. And I'll paint this black, and I might paint that black as well. That is not the dose pipe I intend to keep on this. That is literally a cut-up exhaust of a Skyline that I owned about 4 years ago. There you go. This was the original bend on the exhaust that came with the car, so that'll do enough for an intercooler piping. Spray it black, out of sight, out of mind. I've got to fit my washer bottle back in that corner as well. And I also want to tidy this little AC bit up. It's all crusty, it looks horrible. So polish that up a bit, clean the regulator, break it up, and clean that coilover up as well. Painted that pipe there, painted the dose pipe, and I've also painted the bracket for the ABS. So that should tidy it up quite a fair bit. Now I just need to mount all my relays and the fuses I've got for the thermo fans. I'll tuck them away. I've also got a nice billet bracket for the battery as well to chuck on. Got my relays mounted up. Got my battery in with my nice billet clamp. That looks the part. Washer bottles in as well. Got my billet washers in there. Looks a bit nicer. And I better do this temp sensor before I forget as well. So I'll just whip that out. Pretty sure on the driver's side, this coilover is actually stuffed. So I'm going to jack the car up, whip it off, and test it. Because something is knocking bad. Pulled the coilover out, and it was covered in oil. But I can't really get it to knock. But it does have quite a hard spring rate. So that may be the problem. If I pick it up in the warrant, too bad. If not, then no worries. So chuck it back in, put it all back together, drop the car back on the ground, and throw my piping on, I guess. Should be cured by now. Should look the part in there. I'll slip that one in. It's all nice and cured. And I'll pop the other ones on as well. Definitely looking way better in black, so that's good to see that done. Just pop that on to get the dose pipe in, but before I do that, I also need to thread tape these, because these grub screws are leaking. I did that off camera in the last video before I even got this engine started. I drilled out the old holes and I tapped them for M12 175s, because usually they've got little bungs in there and barbs, but I don't need them anymore. Those pipes on, looks so much better. I did drop it though, and I chipped the cover. No huge deal though, could repaint it at some point, but kind of a pain in the ass still. Painted this shield here as well. This is an ABS shield. Goes down here and protects all the lines and hoses. Cut some cap screws down because they were 20 mil. I got some billet washers, and yeah, should look the part. ABS covers in, looks the part. Now we're looking pretty good. Just left JJ's, so he did a good job and he detailed the car. Once again, gave it a nice wash for me. He's an absolute legend. So if you guys want any paddle beating work done in the top of the south region, I recommend you go see Justin at JJ's. He'll sort you out. Made it home in the Skyline last night, no issue at all, which is absolutely beautiful. I also picked up this 32 GTR intercooler off a guy in town. So that was a good $50 score. I'm pretty happy with that. Had some more work done last night, so I've got myself a screamer now. This needs to be fitted up. I can't wait to hear how that sounds. Also had the coolant overflow mounted to my piping, so that's all done. I'll give that a quick scuff up and then I'll spray that black outside so it'll match the rest of the piping. Should look pretty good. I originally intended to paint that bit of piping, but I decided to polish it. And now, I wish I did it to all the piping. Came out pretty nice, I reckon. We're all fitted up. Got myself an overflow now and a nice charge pipe. I reckon that looks the part. Definitely should have polished the rest of the piping, but it is what it is. I guess it's more of a feature now. The other stuff's hidden and that kind of pops out. But by the time I've painted the covers black and I've polished the radiator, that should look pretty good. Well, Drag the Aristo out, put the 32 in, and now it's operation put coilovers in the 32. That was fairly easy, literally taking about 4 minutes each side. So I'll chuck that wheel on and drop it on the floor, and then I've got to chuck the bumper on. Bumper went on piece of piss, as it obviously does. Any 90s Nissans, just Lego, just a few nuts, a few bolts, and that's it, pops on. So drop it on the floor and see how much it's lowered it. Probably not that much, but I'm hoping for the best. Well, it's certainly lower, but not even close to where I want it. Obviously the springs haven't settled in, but I'd literally drop it another 4 inches than that. So that's completely useless. That'll probably be a waste of time buying and restoring those. And that's all 4. Front and back, all done. So I've just got to let it settle for probably 5 minutes or so while the springs kind of come down to where they want to sit. So we'll lower a tad. It's a lot better than what it was. It's not as low as I want, but it works in my favor because it's obviously not certified. Be a bit more stealthy on the road. Next thing I wanted to do is swap the coils out on the 32 because I've always had a misfire the whole time I've ever had this car, and I think this might fix it. Now on an RB20 it runs an igniter, and I don't have spare 20 coil packs, but I do have spare RB25 series 1 coil packs. They aren't mine, these are Bill's from his 25, so I want to try them on and see if it fixes my misfire, and if it does, then I'm going to wire in my series 2 ones that I actually own. I stand corrected, it seems to have just fixed itself. Give it another quick pull and I'll record what PSI it is and what the air-fuel ratio is. Yeah, so I'm not sure why it was leaning out, but definitely goes pretty apeshit now, so lovely. Give it a quick stab. Real nice sunset going on tonight. Want this thing to rip. Oh, I got no boost now. Got a pipe come off. Blew the intercooler piping off at the intercooler itself. So I've just tightened every single clamp up again. And we'll go for another rip. Might as well start heading home before it gets dark, just in case we break down, but this thing rips. Be rude not to give it another one, I think. And there goes the piping again. Didn't seem to pop off any piping, but it didn't like that. But Bill's gonna make up an oil drain for this thing because I have a temporary solution on there. So he's gonna make up a real nice hard line, and that should sort it out. I really don't want the oil on to burst and set this car on fire, because I will cry. Yeah, I'll make my merry way back home. Yeah, we're making boosts. It's got piping, it just didn't like that pull. Come back home, no worries last night. So in the first few pulls on there, that Aristo made 18 pound, which is perfectly fine. And for some reason, towards the end, it made 26 pound. Now I'm not sure why. I'd probably say the valve guide and the wastegate is sticking and causing it to grab. I did notice some scoring, so it must just get hot and expand. So I need to sort that out because it was actually starting to lean out, which is why I let off. So on full boost, it was about 13.5 to 1 air fuel ratio, which is atrocious. That's what you'd find in an SMP tune from Steve Mitchell. So I need to sort that out. I need to wind the boost down or figure out why it's creeping up and sort that out before I have to do yet another engine rebuild. Chucked the bonnet back on the 32 last night as well, so I had a helping hand with that because it's definitely not a one-person job. I fitted the coils in and then I completely forgot to test if that actually fixed my misfire, because by the time I put the fuel in the Aristo, it was all over. I was just keen to go do some pulls in it. So I need to start her up, see if I fixed it, and then take it outside, because I need to do an oil change on that Aristo. Got some new oil and a new filter and all that, so that needs to be changed out because I've never done an oil change on it. Now obviously I've only probably ever done like 15 kilometers in it, but it is old and I'd rather change it, especially with, well, how I treat it. I had a flat battery, so that wasn't ideal. Just swapped it out. There we go. It still has it very, very slightly, but nowhere near as bad as what it did. So I'd say it might have been the coils in conjunction with the fact I think my O2 sense is bad and this car is very rich, which is probably why it does what it does. Yeah, definitely way better than what it was. Misfire's not gone, but it's barely there. So that's good. A little annoying about the skyline still having the misfire, but I'll wire those Series 2 coils in and that should probably fix it. Gonna drop the oil out of this thing. Got myself a filter and the oil. The filter's in a horrible spot, so I see myself making a huge mess, to be honest. Bit of a struggle, but it's in the air. I've got the filter off, and this is the one I picked up. It's a Z418 ST. And these are quite good because they've got a grippy texture on them, so you can actually grab them when you need to pull them off. And they're also a high flow filter, so the holes in here are way bigger than the standard one. Nice and black. Not quite sure what the best oil is. Everyone says 2050 or 1550. Some people say 1540. So I went for the middle ground because 2050 is a bit thick for OEM clearances, but it'll do. Pretty sure it's about 5.8 litres, I believe. So I'll chuck 5 in and just see what it is. Yeah, gonna need another later. So, I've got all my oil in there, that's all sorted out. Now, one thing I noticed when I was under the car is the fact that my lower radiator support panel is stoved in, which is actually really irritating. So that would honestly be another 500 bucks probably at the panel beaters with JJ, which I wouldn't have a problem with paying, but I'm trying to put money elsewhere at the moment into other cool shit. So I'm gonna make a skid plate and hide it, because I'm not paying that, and I just want a cheap warrant. And what better material to make a skid plate out of than a high-vis street sign. I think that'll do perfect, and it's probably about the same width too. I purchased that on Trade Me, by the way, for legal reasons. Making pretty good progress under here. So I've got this folded up. I managed to cut a slit with a grinder and then jam it between the bench and squash it like a press brake. Just need to cut some little bits off the edges there for my intercooler piping clearance. And then I'll drill a hole in the middle, bolt it up, and that should sort me out. Absolute perfect fitment on this plate. It is like millimeter perfect from the piping. Got a mount right in the middle where the two subframe braces meet. Making this plate even gave me a bracket to put my AC line on, which is perfect. You can still just see in here a little bit, so I'll pack this with a bit of foam or rubber or something, make it lock the part, and that'll be my excuse to say it's my ATF protection lines. And that is how you, hopefully, pass the warrant with a damaged radiator support, because I'm not fixing it and I don't care. Surprisingly, that bonnet fits down perfectly and doesn't hit that turbo. Even fits better than before, way better body lines, same gaps each side, and it actually closes properly. I used to have to drop it from about 1.5 foot above the latch and slam it. Now it just closes perfectly, so I've aligned it properly. Sorted that out. The windscreen is actually booked as well for 2 days away on a Monday at 9 AM, so that's ready to go. Just gonna clean the sills up, check the lights, and I think that's it. Other than probably blocking off the screamer would help. Something I want to quickly do with this car is clean those sills up. Now, like I said, they were folded right up. So I've pulled them down, I've straightened them out with a hammer. They're all nice, but I want to wire wheel over them and then put a bit of underseal on the inside because this actually chipped off all the coating. So I'll just run the wire wheel straight on the inside and the outside of the sills, and then I'll just run a bead of underseal or sound deadening or the body deadening stuff there, and then just spray it black, and that'll do me well, I think. Not really much wrong with it, just doesn't look pretty, especially for a warrant, so I'll clean them up. Just gives them less stuff to complain about, I guess. Just gone and wire wheeled all those sills and given them a slap of paint. So I'll let that dry and then I'll just dust over it with some black spray paint just to cover it all. But it's got a nice rust guard coating on it, so I'll leave that for now. Now I'm gonna whip that gate off because I'm not really too keen on hitting 26 pound in this thing because I'm really not interested in doing another engine rebuild at the moment. Easy enough, so whip that V-bend off, pull the line off, and strip that gate down, and we'll try hunt down what the problem is. Got the gate off, so I'll whip the screamer off itself and have a look inside. There was a bit of leakage and soot around here, but might have just been a bit dirty. Not actually too bad, but like I said, there is scoring in here right on the guide. So I'll pull it apart and clean it out. Got the gate apart. Nothing too interesting to see in here. There is a bit of scoring in this guide, and the valve itself has a fair bit of scoring. And when you poke it all the way up, it does actually stay up, which obviously means no boost. If it sticks up, it'll stick down. So I think what I'll do is I will just chuck that in the drill and sand it, or I might even just do it by hand, spin it around, smooth it out, poke some sandpaper through the guide as well, make sure it's nice and smooth. I'll chuck these through as an ultrasonic cleaner. Might as well chuck that through as well. Not quite sure how I'm going to get it back together because it actually is quite tall when it's not compressed, and my vise doesn't even open up that much. I'll figure something out either way, but that's that. Clean it up. Hopefully I don't start free boosting again. I think that should do me much better. Polish this up in the drill. Looks way nicer, nice and smooth now. It also goes in the guide real smooth. Everything else is being through the cleaner. So I'll try and chuck this back together somehow. Managed to get it back together. Was a bit of a mission because obviously the spring pressure is quite hard. Just hit the nail on it and then chuck the bolts in. And that was that. Take it back over there, chuck it back on, and hope for the best. In the next drive, it doesn't go near 30 pound again. Gate is back on. Bit of a fight, but I made it work. So that is beautiful. Can only hope that fixes it, and I won't truly know until I go do some more pulls in it. But I won't take this thing out until Bill's made the oil drain. Because if this drain melts the way I've made it, it will just spray my manifold in oil and inevitably burn the car down, which I don't want. But yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up for this. I've done enough. I've finished up where I need to be. I'm ready to go for my windscreen, so I'll do that when I get to it. So yeah, that's it, I guess. Gonna leave it there and go keep myself busy with something else.